I could hear some sort of a whine noise. I wasn't too sure what it was. I get used to the fan running, you know, the one that's hooked into the ceiling space, and yeah, it's pretty normal to hear that running. The fridge running. Obviously, I'm used to that. It used to wake me up, but I sleep through the fridge running. It was so quiet when I first moved to here before I got a fridge. But I could hear this other whine. I wasn't too sure what it was. I don't know if you can see them. I'll try and see if I can see another still one. It's bees. For some reason, these box thorns here, never mind the other ones around the house, but these ones near me laundry, they've all got blooming flowers on them. And the bees are all getting stuck in pollinating them all. Let's see if I can get a close-up of one of these bees. Yeah, as much as I don't really like the box thorn, it's probably only because I had too many in the wrong place. They're sort of out of control. Seems a few people I've met locally that I didn't know before recently have identified me as the guy who was burning all the box thorns. Hope you didn't see Black Kitty taking a shit there. Yeah, it's this thing's going flaming good actually. I've got 3 figs pretty much on every one. Some of them only have 2, but yeah, the 2 or 3 figs. Some of the lower ones are being grabbed by birds or something, maybe sheep, probably not. Some bastard jumped the gun on that one there. I'll stop shadowing it, you might actually see it. Eating that one, half of it anyway. I'm glad I got this little ramshackle rig in. It's actually working quite well. Half the water goes here, half the water goes out the original outlet, and yeah, this is getting enough water when it's got fruit on it that with a bit of luck it should retain all its fruit, but it's working quite well. Yeah. This is what it's all about, people. Harvest. Getting the produce, getting the gear. I missed all this because I was away, although I got a bunch of plums from elsewhere. These will be next. Might get a few box thorn berries, dry them out. This is going quite alright. The Madeira vine, I mean, hey, it's Madeira vine, it's always going alright. Middle of blooming summer, it's still fine, and I could flame and harvest that whenever I wanted to. Those of you who haven't tried it, you should try Malabar spinach, Indian running spinach. And this is Madeira vine's a close cousin. I'm probably not supposed to have it because it's a weed, but it's more of a weed in New South Wales. It's a real problem in New South Wales. It's just like a Madeira vine, Malabar spinach with a shitty aftertaste, which you can drown out if you put enough soy sauce on it or enough salt. You can just about wipe out that aftertaste. Anyways, the almonds, I think a lot of them are dropped now. I'm seeing a lot of them on the ground, still full shells. I've been reading about acorns being fed to pigs in Spain. I sort of wonder if between acorns, which do grow up the road from me actually, between acorns and blooming almond trees, I wonder if you couldn't feed one pig off a shitload of acorns and almonds. Apparently some of the best hams in the world come from pigs fed on acorns. Yeah, these are all long since dropped. There's only a couple of old rotten ones still left. Anyway, oh yeah, might as well mention nursery that I usually go to. Looks like it's bloody closed down for good, which is a bit of a shame. was hoping to get a bunch of bare-rooted plums there or something like that, but that's probably not going to happen this winter. I might have to get them from elsewhere, or I might be so busy stuff-arsing around with perpetual spinach / silver beet that it's so might end up on the back burner priority-wise. But as they say, the best time to plant a tree is 25 years ago. If you can't do that, plant it now. Just come to realise here, all the blasted boxthorns are coming back. That is strange. I think it's that leaf disease again. Goes and beats the hell out of things, and you know, makes all the leaves disappear, and then they all sort of come back pretty much all at the same time. But I hear the bees buzzing through all this as well. Potatoes. They're actually looking flaming good. Sometimes, if we look hard enough, sometimes little potatoes just come above the surface. These are looking beautiful, actually. There's a tiny little one down there. There's another one. There's another one. And another one above the surface. And another one. Interspersed. Oh, there's one definitely. Interspersed by the odd bit of stinging nettle. More stinging nettle. This is Mama's wine barrel garden patch. A couple of leaking barrels that me father got when he worked at a vineyard before he retired. Froggy! What are you doing, Froggy? Hey? Gonna blow it up and go funny, are you? Hey? You gonna move off the road? Come on, big Froggy. Come on, big Froggy! Come on, bud. Get right off the road. I don't want to touch you because you're all gooey. Alrighty. I've just been helping my father get some parts diagrams, exploded parts lists for fixing up this backhoe. I also decided it might be a good idea to ask my mother about silver beet. And here I am, having ordered these $40 worth of rubber seals and whatnot for this water pump. Only to find out that silver beet in this area, i.e. perpetual spinach, only grows during the winter, and generally speaking you let it die off in the summer. Now, it looks like I've spent $40 or going to spend $40 getting the water pump going. On that bolt I snapped off, we managed to get that out clean. Put a tap in which just got rid of the old bolt that was in there, so we'll be able to use another bolt without a problem in that. But basically I'm going to have a water pump that I don't even need for perpetual spinach. So it might be perpetual in other parts of the world, in America and whatnot, where you guys continue to get rain. My sister continues to get rain quite a bit, as you guys saw, during the summer. But in the area I'm in, it's known as the tinderbox in summer because it is as absolutely dry as dry. And it goes like that every summer. That's why I was so shocked about getting 35 mil of rain. An inch and 3/8 of rain just does not happen here in summer. That's just the most bizarre anomaly to get rain like that during summer. It dries out, it doesn't rain, everything dies. But as you probably saw at my sister's place, the grass was still a little bit green. It wasn't brilliant, but there was green grass around. But here, everything dies. And generally speaking, people let their silver beet / perpetual spinach die off. It will go to seed in the summer and give you all the seeds in the summer, and they'll be nice and dry in the summer heat. Then you have to plant the seeds for the first rain in middle of autumn or whenever, and then it grows and grows during winter. Where my sister is, nothing grows during winter because everything is frozen all the damn time. Brother-in-law was telling me there he slept one night and it was minus 8.5 degrees Celsius. I couldn't even fathom that. You know, I've only been down to minus 4.5 Celsius. And as my parents said, when they went up there, there's ice over everything. The dams freeze up. Nothing grows because everything is frozen solid. Whereas down here, you get a few frosts, but that's about it. But then the summer's so hot that there's not enough rain to keep your perpetual spinach actually perpetual. But anyway, that means that I'm going to have a water pump that I've fixed up that I will not need to use for the silver beet. Having said that, it doesn't mean I won't use it for a summer crop. Pump water in the winter into IBCs, which I don't now need to stress out about buying $1,500 worth of IBCs, because I won't actually need $1,500 worth of IBCs, at least for perpetual spinach. But if I do have that amount of IBCs, then I've got water for the summer for, let's say, lettuce, or my classical old favourite, tomatoes. I also love growing coriander, and I'm very good at growing coriander, which, from memory, I think I grow in the spring. Can't quite remember. It's been a while, but I used to grow quite a bit of coriander. I love coriander. So yeah, either way, it's going to get used one way or the other regardless. Because of course there's not just a point of having a winter crop and no summer crop. I'd like to have both a winter crop and a summer crop. And the other thing that seems to grow quite a right here, I had one year where I thought they stuffed up, but that might have been due to like a bit of a calcium deficiency. I think they don't get quite to maturity. We had a year where some didn't quite get to maturity, but I think they were just, we actually had some out in the paddock out with the sheep, and I think they didn't get watered, and they didn't get to maturity because they just didn't get watered, and it's just too dry during the summer. But we had another bunch once where they went fine in the summer because they were watered, only a few metres away from the other bunch, which was out near the rubbish bins. But the ones that were away from the sheep were actually deliberately watered, and as a result they got to maturity. There's a friend of my mum's who, she was really good. She's dead now, but this is no crap. This is not commercial. This is just in her little home garden. Grew pumpkins one summer, and she got 72 pumpkins. Just one lady pottering around. 72 pumpkins for one housewife. Pretty good going. And yeah, that might be my summer option. And, if I go ahead and bring this cardboard house floor frame and get stuck into it with a bit of polycarbonate and a bit of this glass and whatnot, I may very well be able to, jumpstart the tomatoes early with a heated glass house, as they used to do at Boomerang Nurseries, where we had heated glass houses that ran off giant propane tanks and a boiler system. I don't know if you'd actually call it a full-blown boiler, but they used to run hot water lines underneath this huge indoor area, which had doors, but the idiots only had just enough doors and were pushing people so fast that people would just keep sliding doors one way, and then there'd always be one door open. And to close the doors so that they're all sealed, you then had to get one end to close, you had to go and turn around and close like frickin', 15 of these massive bloody doors, or even more, maybe 20 of these doors. But yeah, it'll, if I can, I'll try and get the jump on things like that by using this heated glass house that I may build, and I've got a great idea in mind, and I'm almost holding myself back from building the actual damn heating system for it, because I've got the design in my head all spot out down to the last degree, including a circulation fan. But I've got better things that I need to be doing on during the summer, such as fixing a few weatherboards on this house. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's the proper breakfast. That's some of the ones we butchered the other day. I got a reasonable amount of mint out of that. I did sniff a bit more, as I said I was going to. So we're doing alright there. So what I'm going to do now is go and chuck them in the, what's his name, envelopes. I got these envelopes. I got a whole shit ton of them once. And the thingo, the adhesive on them is basically stuffed. You'll lick it and nothing will happen. So I can use stapler to sort of seal the sides, and that tends to work alright. And I'll chuck them on the car dashboard, and keeps them away from the dust and allows them to dry reasonably well. Looks like the seeds have come off there, but they should be alright. Try and sit them back up here. Would have been a bit of a breeze. We had blew them off here on the ground, but fortunately the kittens haven't decided to tear them to bits just yet. Oh, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, just been down to water the grapevines. One of them's going real good. They've never really been terribly good. It's just, yeah, probably should have had more shade, more wind protection, blah, blah, blah. But, not really suited to just being a handful on their own. They're all right in big lots, but not a handful on their own. Sort of worked out pretty good, actually. Just hope all the seeds end up filling those as well. There's a lot of these, there's a couple of runners that come out that I've sort of replanted, that one there and those couple there. Replanted with that yesterday. Just thinking a bit about my uncle and all the damn scrap metal around here. He used to drive Valiants. I mean, he had a towing capacity that was probably better than mine. Not that he ever wanted to tow anything. He's always trying to get somebody else to do anything that involved towing, regardless of the fact that his vehicle was fine to tow. I was just thinking about when I was getting rid of all the scrap metal here once. I got rid of about 9 or 10 loads in a week at one point. It was one day there, it's a couple of days there, I got rid of 3 loads a day. All up out of this place, there has been easily in excess of 25 loads of scrap metal. Easy. You know, we're probably up to 27, 28. I never counted. Back when I was clearing this place out, the scrap metal ranged between 100 and 115 a tonne. I think one day there was 120 a tonne. I would come out of that place every time with at least a $50 note. Sometimes it was $50, $70, $80 maybe. You know, it was sort of alright. Now that's at sort of 100 to 115 a tonne. Before the GFC, it was 700 a tonne. That's right. That is, you know, close to 7-fold the price. You know, maybe 6.5-fold, something like that. $700 a tonne. I used to take in quite easily 0.4 of a tonne, sometimes even 0.8 of a tonne. And he could have easily done the same. You know, his vehicle was within the weight rating and all that. Could have borrowed our trailer and gone and done it. And I just thought to myself, like, I load to one scrap metal dealer and to a second one, because I know they've got at least 2 scrap metal dealers that you can just go in, unload and get stuff. And He could have covered half his mortgage payments a year by doing one load to each scrap metal dealer. You know, one load to one and one load to the second scrap metal dealer without a problem. He would have easily covered half his mortgage payments a year, you know. And he struggled like shit. He didn't even have a propane stove. Scraping along, and yet he was sitting on a gold mine of scrap metal. Now, rough estimate of what I've taken has probably been at least 10 tonne worth in. Well, pre-GFC terms, that's $7,000. And he had a propane vehicle, as I do. And his one was even more efficient than mine. It cost him about $8 to drive in there. So, you know, hell, he could have really done well. And he was always driving in there anyway for other stuff, obviously. Groceries and all that sort of stuff, or just sometimes just to visit people, just out of boredom, you know. And you sort of look at all that and you think, holy smoke. You know, the house here was full of all the materials I needed to fix it, which is a bit of a strange thing. Qualified carpenter, all the materials, but he just didn't have the energy. He had a bad heart, so we found out far too late. But I come here, and just because I don't like nails, all I had to buy was screws and glue, and that was it. And the majority of what I needed was already here. Sort of reminisce a lot of times about what he could have done with what he had, you know, and he looks as poor as chips, but the fact of the matter was he was sitting on a bucket load of money just in scrap metal alone. Never mind all the flipping copper, you know, bits and pieces, all the flaming electric motors that we hear, all the car batteries. God blimey. The day I went in and got those car batteries, holy effing cow. There was 44 car batteries. Now I think it ended up something like 0.8 of a tonne or something like that. It worked out I made 25 cents a kilogram. I can't remember exactly what I come out with, but it was shit tons. I think it was about $380 I come out with in one load. And it wasn't belting around with big tangles of wire. It was just literally putting car batteries in the back of this trailer. Something like $383 in one load. Because at that point they told me stop bringing in so much, otherwise you're going to have to do paperwork for tax purposes because we're giving you too much money because of the amount of stuff you're bringing in, and you're going to go over the $500 a year limit. But if you spread them out far enough, they have the tax agents go over the books. But if you spread them out far enough, they don't even notice. So he could have actually probably got 2 loads to that scrap metal dealer and 2 loads to another scrap metal dealer, done 4 loads and covered his entire mortgage for the year, you know. The other trick of it all was he had some big lathes and whatnot here. And I mean, shit, there's still a lathe and a massive, massive drill press here. Fuck it, I might as well show you because it's only just sitting over there. That was going for $3,000 a tonne. Now, there's another trick to all this. Guys, obviously, there was plenty of money in the scrap metal business, and guys would pay you cash for taking away stuff. So you didn't have to take it in there and show your driver's license as you do at the proper scrap metal yards as such. These guys would come out with their trucks, and it'd be a crane truck. And I know, you know, the same guy who takes cars away from here, and they would pay you cash. And there'd be no way of tracing it for tax purposes. Look at the base on this fucking thing. Goes right through into there. Yeah, look at the counterweights. That same dude who takes the cars wanted to offer me cash for this. It's a lathe, and there's another lathe that, if any of you guys saw the Scarlet Robin, you would have, a long time back I showed the Scarlet Robin here, you would have seen the big lathe, and the big lathe has a 10-foot bed. This is only the tiddler. It's just ignored and sitting out in the weather. so much money in scrap metal. You know, that shit is $3,000 a ton in the scrap yards. So much money in scrap metal, but he was so busy hanging on to all this crap because he might need to use it for something one day that he never got rid of it. And he lived in bloody poverty, battling to make mortgage payments on welfare money. Anyway, he's dead and I'm here now, and life moves on.